Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, for an all-new type of Element event. Today we're going to be doing a live scrim broadcast. This will be unscored, and we have a very special person with us today, the new caster for Element. We got Man of Class.
I was going to say special person. You can't mean me, but apparently it is. It's me. Hi, I'm out of class. You can also call me Olaf, but by a lot of other names, as PlaySafe has already gotten used to. Yeah, we're indeed here with a new event. It's unscored scrims, which essentially means that anything goes. Anyone can have fun. We're going to see a lot of fun stuff, hopefully. And I'm mostly very excited to see potentially some experimental builds coming out because what's better than seeing players try something completely different, something completely new that we're not used to, and that we can speculate on wildly.
Yeah, well, we're going to get a lot of speculation for sure. These players are going to be in practice mode. Remember that the stakes are a lot lower in these events. The players can go for kills more freely. There's all sorts of opportunities for them to just show their skills without money on the line. Again, as I said, it is unscored. We're going to be playing the usual 6 games, just like the other tournament format we've been following. 3 breaks followed by a little bit of a halftime, 5 minutes. Shorter halftime because it is just a broadcasted scrim, unscored, and then finish it off with 3 more games. But also, just to remind everybody, we got the 4-caster team now. Man of Class is sealing us out, and we're going to be starting up the games very, very soon. Also, something to note that's very exciting is today we are going to be reading chat actively. There's no stream delay because this is just a scrim. It's going to be more engaging for you guys. So I hope you guys are ready to enjoy today's event. As we got Prophet in the chat, OG Chad Caster and the new casting talent. You're damn right, my man. We are ready to get going. Do you expect to see any sort of new builds? What do you expect to see out of these solos, Man of Class? Let's check that analysis. Let's see your credentials, my friend.
Honestly, there's a lot I can say. Like, oh, I expect this, I expect that. I'm more interested in talking about what I'm actually excited for because we've seen all the standard builds. Like, we know what people want to go for, especially when it comes to talents. It's a very, very, I wouldn't call it stale, but a very established meta. If you want to win, that's what you run. So that's where I want to see most variation. What gauntlets and classes people pick up, that interests me less than anything. It's more about, will people have some creative chrono plays for the runes maybe? Will maybe someone go for like a spell slinger, even a thirsty or a reckless build? It's all up in the air. And if you're going to try it out at any point in time, this is definitely the way to do it.
Yeah, that's a great point right there. If there's any time to try something new, it is going to be today. You brought up the Chrono Master, and I would love to see some of these big brain gamers whip that out as well. We got Pingu and Painless in the chat. What's up, guys? Hope you guys are having a great weekend. For any Canadians in the chat, happy Thanksgiving. I'll be celebrating after today's event. Going to be getting my fair share of turkey and stuffing. But speaking of stuffing, I want to see some of these players stuff this lobby up as we get into this practice. It's going to take a little bit longer to get into the first game. We got to make sure the host tells everybody all the rules. These are some players who are going to be new to these types of events. As we said, this is just a chill practice. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, Inflatable Koala. I appreciate you, my man. I appreciate you. But anyway, Man of Class, do you want to tell these people what your experience is in casting so that they can come off hot into this game?
Yeah, cool. I mean, of course, you see a new face, you see a lot of beard going on, and I get it. It's scary. It's new. It's scary for me too. A new game. I'm going to say a lot of wrong things tonight. That's just what's about to happen. But, when you talk about where I come from, I'm an Overwatch caster. That's what I am. And I know you guys maybe don't know anything about Overwatch anymore because, it's been a dead game for about 2 years, according to most people. But it's actually quite still alive. There's a lot of things going on. And in that space, I've done a lot. I'm currently doing, the sort of the semi-professional tier of Overwatch. And yeah, that's I thought, Spellbreak, lots of abilities, a lot of combinations, a lot of, strategic builds, deeper analysis. Why not try that out? And so far, I've been liking it, been loving it. Obviously, I'm an Overwatch player. I'm an Overwatch caster. It means I'm not good at either game, or Spellbreak or Overwatch, because that's what casters do. They cast. They don't play the game. That's not their job.
Well, it's something funny actually about today's scrim. Speaking of casters playing the game, OSK will be hopping in for the second half of today's game. So you guys will get to see OSK Gaming whip out his gameplay. After critiquing so many comp players, OSK is going to have his opportunity in the second half to show the community what it looks like. But getting right into the first game here, we see Official Predicts, got that Invis rune on common. Doesn't look like there's going to be anybody directly in front of him. He's going to just rotate this map nice and calmly as SK Majin picks up a kill early. Now you see he's got that stone with the Tempest offhand, Man of Class. What do you think about that type of approach to these early fights?
I mean, at least you'll get a lot of early armor that's going on. So you've got the stone skin going, but already under fire right now. They actually ran into a player. Thought they had it quiet, but not so much. Both working the same skin. I always like when you have that duel going on. And with the Invis rune, won't actually be able to get away from everybody. Rush Frog gets that kill on him.
Yeah, Rush Frog actually just blew him up completely. He still had a blue belt, so he wasn't completely exposed. And Rush Frog just managed to find the angle to finish the kill very, very efficiently. Got that Pyro with Stone offhand, already has a purple dash as well, so RF is looking looted at the beginning of game 1 here. Going to keep on bouncing around as we try to find more fights. It's already dwindled down to 29 players, so that's something I did expect for these scrims. You know, in the tournament games or the qualifying games, the players have a lot more on the line. There's a lot more reason to play safe. But I'm expecting a lot of hard pushes here. Kamsky, the player who won the most recent solo event, is out here in the scrims. Let's see if he can follow up his crazy performance from Saturday with some scrim W's here, MOC.
Oh, I like that he's running the Toxicologist build, though. Offhand Pyro, always good to see some explosive Toxic Clouds coming out. And with that Shadow Step rune, they are going to be really mobile. But right now, we're going after Zen. Zen, the man, the guy who's bringing it all together. Kind of see if he can get his gameplay together as well. Running actually with a Conduit and a Toxic offhand right now. And a Spellslinger. Something we don't see that often. Spellslinger build super fun, especially if you can get some rune swaps going. Currently, he's got the Wolf's Blood in the pocket. So see if that comes in later.
Yeah, Zen is always somebody to try to theory craft some crazy stuff. So to see him with the Wolf Split in the pocket gets me excited already. But we see Wonderful now in a bit of an exchange. Ooh, nice flick with the Frost. Going to try to finish the kill. Another beautiful Toxic Slap. And that's going to be the 3rd kill for IWR Full. Nice drop right there, MOC. He kind of whipped that one up surgically, if I do say so.
Yeah, very much so, but you do see it. That's one of those standard builds that we see coming out, both from the rune perspective as well from the gauntlet perspective. Comes up with a Toxicologist class, just a bit of Frost, Ice Lances to get that opening shot, and then just pounce on your opponent with that Toxic. Now Dex is under fire, well actually is doing the firing themselves, gets Zemyant out of there, and just picks up some more scrolls. Almost done his full course reading, just missing 2 there. That's quite an impressive start.
Yeah, that is a very fast course reading for sure. He's already almost completely read up, as you mentioned. He is rocking the Runic Fluency with Tempest, so his mobility is going to be extremely high. Already has a purple dash. Him and RF Legendary both have the same rune right now, same rarity, so they're both going to be looking good going into these final circles. We got Gigabyte as well, who had a fantastic showing in these recent events. Most reference is on Saturday when he came in 5th in the solos finals, but now he's looking to push up on this fight. Sees a firewall in front of him, doesn't know exactly if he wants to hard commit, has Spring Step, and also is very red up as well. Man of Class, looks like all of these players have done their homework in this game 1. 3 on each scroll, as it looks like player 2 gets a kill with the Tox Gauntlet onto Refried 1. But Gigabyte doesn't seem to have found anything here.
Yeah, I mean, when we look at all these course readings being done properly, it's almost like everyone's running Finders Keepers, but nothing could be further from the truth. Nova now under a lot of fire, pressure from their opponent, couldn't quite get that armor potion off. Of course, not running a Thirsty, so it takes a bit longer, but tries to still get away now, using their Wind Gauntlet very effectively, trying to get the Wind Shears to pop away, and it's actually managed to lose track, or at least their opponent has managed to lose track of them. Very nicely done. Yeah, I mean, you can make some Fire Nados with this, but you might be losing a bit of longer range burst. That Wind Gauntlet is mainly good for mobility, not so much for the damage, but it's good combo potential, at least for this Fire, so not to worry about that. And now we're over Hoof. They're going with more of a standard build. That Toxicologist with the Frost offhand. Just snipe from range, trying to get some of that outbreak off. Nicely done, Hoof. Just make sure you're in the right position, take the next fight, take the high ground, and maybe find some scrolls, because they were looking a bit empty.
Yeah, well, he's definitely rocking, like you said, the classic Toxicologist build. He didn't go for the 2-2-2 on that build. 2-2-2 meaning the Runic Fluency, Fervor, and Recovery, a very common build path, but he actually went for the Scavenging, so that's interesting to see. But now we're looking at Mo Cable TV. Legendary Amulet, but a green belt, so the loot is not quite balanced for him. He did try to put a bit of damage down here with the offhand lightning onto his opponent, got a little bit of ticks, but not enough to really get an aggressive push. As you see, he's going to take a second to take a pot. Does have Scavenging as well, so he will get resources if he finishes the kill. Sees the Keymaster take a Shadow Step forward, and he's going to go for the high ground positioning. MOC, what do you think about this approach to this mid-game fight? I think he's making the right decision.
I mean, he should be, honestly. If you don't have to take the fight here and can just mop up some light damage from the others, you know, you're fine. He has a green belt as well, so doesn't want to go too aggro. Might just want to pick up some post-fight loot. And just getting the last hit in is all you really need as Scavenging if you take some damage. Just take those resources back. Just trying to chase down someone here, exploding that cloud with their Pyro. but won't be able to finish off anything. And now they've definitely been spotted. Have to be careful not to get spotted out by someone else, but they are getting ice lances to their face. Not actually able to get away from them. Mo under fire. We'll have to use the Firefly to get away from that. But right now, Plays, he's just not going to be able to be so safe.
It shows you how hard it is to get away from a good toxicologist with high levels of tracking. Look at that. He's just getting followed through. He has no option but to press the fight, and player 2 will capitalize on that one. So we saw how difficult it was to get away from P2 in that situation. He tracked him through multiple different levels, multiple different lines of sight to finish the kill. He gets away with it too. No third party is going to get him right away. And now we see the angle of Rush Frog. Look at him now on the Pyro. He does have that Frost offhand. It is only a green rarity, so the damage isn't going to be too high. It looks like he may have spotted player 2, who finished that first kill we just witnessed. Now he takes the Firefly up, but doesn't actually look for a direct engage. He's just kind of poking around for some damage, looking for a better angle. Sees the loot pile, might try to upgrade his Frost if he can, but it doesn't look like he's going to get lucky with that. And this is definitely a very sketchy position for Rush Frog. Gonna have to look for a better opportunity, maybe some high ground, maybe somewhere to establish himself as he sees the Toxic Cloud come out, and look at that, he eats a slap to the face. Now he's just moving backwards, dash off cooldown, mana class. He is in a very tough situation, and it looks like he's gonna just try to completely disengage here.
I have a feeling his opponent has a Runic Fluency going on, which means his mobility is very lacking. Can maybe use the Firefly and the Alacrity to every now and then get some movement out. But right now, they're just on the back foot. Have to start getting some damage out after taking this large shield pot. It's a good choice to do that, you know, try and get away and get something, because those two opponents did run into each other, and he managed to just, you know, debate both. Now he's going to get the Frost shot off, Ice Lance onto some opponents, but not really actually hitting anybody, and that's so important, hitting the first shot Plays. This is going to be another run for the hills.
Yeah, he is still getting pushed as well, but look at those fireballs. Really great job of just throwing out the damage on the defensive. Rush Frog continues to put the pressure now. He completely turned the fight, and he just assassinates TTV Keefe. Keefe was walking forward and eating those fireballs from Rush Frog. He just deleted him once he got close enough. Rush Frog will get away with it as well. No immediate third party, so he has time to drink potions behind a firewall. A beautiful play right there from Rush Frog, if I do say so myself.
Go to Trago, who's having a perfect time to just chill around. Don't really have to do much. Kamsky got 5 exiles on the board. There's 7 other players in the lobby, so he's just looking for the next kill. Not a lot of players to go, so might play it a bit safe. But at least they're in the zone. They can just edge play it and make sure that no one gets in before them or after them to get some something going there. Is indeed still running that combustion build, just the Toxic Clouds into the Pyro walls. Very nicely done. Still has a blue Shadow Step rune. Not quite as looted up as you want, and also missing quite a few scrolls in that recovery.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to me because I'm so used to seeing Kamsky with the Frost offhand on Toxicologist build, but he's actually opting to take that Fire offhand. We don't know for sure if that's because he hasn't found a Frost yet. We can't just fully speculate, but just to see them with that Fire in the offhand is a little bit unusual for me, especially with 8 people left, but it looks like Dex MTS catches them on the backside now. That is Kamsky, as Dex MTS takes a Tornado straight up in the air, looks to keep the track up. Kamsky gets away with Vanishing Mist just a little bit. Dex MTS is still looking to track. Kamsky did tag him 2 times now. The Fireball doesn't connect, but Dex MTS's armor is in a rough shape. Gonna look to reposition, but look at the Storm, Olaf. He's gonna have to run so far to get back into the regular zone now.
I think he'll be fine, though. I mean, gets a little bit of healing off. The zone's not that far away, so they'll probably get 1 or 2 ticks on them. It shouldn't be that bad. A lot of that, what went wrong for them in that fight is that Kamsky just kept on going into their own Toxic Cloud. That Outbreak is so jarring because you just lose track of your opponent so easily. And right now they're trying to chase down Kamsky, but Kamsky is fully aware of their own positioning, of their opponent's positioning, and Dax is once again going to lose track of the shadow stepping, outbreaking Toxicologist in Kamsky. Not a great position to be in. Now it gets shot from the other side. A beautiful Stone Slam comes in there. Oh, a Shockwave, as we're supposed to call it now, I believe. And yeah, Dex just in between the rock and a well, toxic place, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, he got lucky that neither of those boulders connected. You can see he's not running recovery, so it's almost a guarantee that if both of those boulders had hit at that point-blank range, Dex MTS would be dead. But look at the angle. We get over to Hoof's perspective as he drills a shot into Dex MTS. It looks like the Tempest did get away just a little bit. Hoof can't connect through the trees. That is a tough shot. He is rocking the Toxicologist, though, so you know he will have Vanishing Mists up. Sees the Tempest once again. This is his chance. Can't get it to plant to the face, though. Hoof now push forward. Not going to see much. He still has that green Frost. That is such low damage output. And now he's going to just reposition. He does have scavenging. He would have got resources if he could finish the kill. He didn't quite get it here, MLC. And now he's on the back foot of this fight. 7 people left as Kamsky took out player 2 in the kill feed. The kill on Keefe is still sitting there in the kill feed. That is from much earlier, though, as we see this is slowing down just a little bit.
I already saw Keefe coming into chat being like, you know what? I don't really know what happened there. There was a dropping the J-bomb right there in the chat. Sorry, Keefe. Better luck next time. Hoof now under so much pressure. I believe that's Kamsky actually dropping on them with a toxicologist again. It's going to be so tough. But they run the recovery, so they're taking a little bit longer to heal. That was actually the benefit you saw coming out from Moola before that. They just had so much time to heal up, and then also can heal up because they have that Thirsty equipped.
Yeah, for sure. Now you see he's still picking more fights, does miss that shot off the top, and look at the assassination attempt from yet another toxicologist player. Hoof just took so much damage on the front side of that. Now he's just going to keep on stepping in these sticky puddles. Hoof is going to be just barely get out of this one with his life, but I do believe he is being followed down here. Oh, he may have gotten away just enough space to maybe get a pot. Hasn't started drinking yet, which is a questionable choice. But we're going to bounce over and try to find somebody who's on the front end of some action. Kamsky actually gets the kill into Rush Frog in the kill feed. So now there's just 6 people left. This game 1 scrim is starting to slim out. Hoof goes down to Lanky C Moose, which is a late kill there. And now we see Lanky with the loot here.
Yeah, I mean, Hoof just got spotted out in the end. You know, Lanky C was already chasing him down anyways, was probably just dealing with another duel on the side. And now, indeed, only 5 breakers left. Not a lot to go off. And Kamsky just gets to shoot with those frosts. Finally found a gauntlet. Maybe the speculation earlier on where they had found it or not came true. It was just that they didn't have it, so that's why he was running the Pyro. Kamsky does still go for those nice lances and is able to just be a third party in this entire fight, still getting 1 kill, probably going for the next one. Kamsky just popping off right now. 2 players against him, and he is running a bit low on that armor, but still relatively healthy. Gets the slap. Oh, the double exile. This is going crazy. Kamsky gonna get the last shot. Another Ice Lance that might actually do it, but no, they're under a lot of pressure right now. It is Tempest versus Toxicologist here. And the Toxicologist is just going for that Vanishing Mist once again. Kamsky doesn't want to get spotted, doesn't want to get that first drop on them because they know they cannot really take that many more hits. But they want to take that shot. They want to take that frost shot with the Ice Lance.
Yeah, well, Kamsky had so many highlights leading into this last kill. Can he secure it to take game 1? Those were some beautiful flicks. He killed off 3 people right in a row in this end circle. Now it is the 1v1 though. He has to capitalize on the Tempest. You did mention it's hard to keep this track up as the Tempest player drops a Tornado, and Kamsky's going to eat a lot of damage over time for that one. Looking over the top now, he does know it's just going to be one more Frost Knife to hit it, but look at that. The Outbreak gets magnified from deep, and he hits him with an 18 Tox Slap to finish game 1. Kamsky with a solid effort to mop up that lobby, and that's going to take us right to game 2, Man of Class. That was quite a showing right there.
I mean, look, it wouldn't be a night of Element Spellbreak if Kamsky didn't pop off at some point, right? I think that's where we're at right now. Honestly, beautiful finish there in the end. You gotta kind of wonder though. Maybe at some point players will start realizing that Kamsky is just out there and they can all just make a pact. As soon as we Kamsky, we just all turn on him instead of keep fighting amongst each other, because otherwise he'll just clean everything up himself. It's exactly what happened there. It's very unfortunate for everybody. And honestly, you know, I didn't even mind him being on the Pyro. It was working quite well, but he has to just switch over to the Frost just to show us up, you know, just show us that you can actually hit Ice Lances at point blank range. It's pretty good times.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite things about that Frost Gauntlet is when you see it on a player like Kamsky, the skill ceiling on a weapon like that is very high, and Kamsky shows you some of the limits of the Gauntlet. He is flicking people, like you said, at mid-range. He's finishing kills up close with the Frost Gauntlet, still varying his playstyle. It is just insanity to see. For anybody who joined a bit late, Kamsky did start out with a fire in the offhand, so he's showing his flexibility even further in this game. And that is just the end of game 1. Remember, for anybody who's just joining us now, these are unscored scrims. This is the first time we're doing an Element broadcast of the scrims. We're going to be trying to be more interactive with chat as well, so feel free to throw any messages you'd like, and we'll try to get to them. But speaking of getting to it, we got a game 2 to speak of. And there was a lot of toxicologists in that game 1. I think that's something we should mention.
Yeah, but I mean, we also saw a lot of toxicologists in the qualifier, or the finals actually on Saturday. So just a continuation of the same thing. And whereas you can choose to be more experimental in scrims like this, it's just also still a place where you can just practice your general build. So maybe it's just a warm up, people trying out the same old, just to get a bit warm up against the high level players that they might not get in their regular games in their pubs. And yeah, I mean, right now, I already see Spockish in chat. He's ready to put a bounty out on Kamsky. Maybe if you name a number, maybe people will react to it. But right now, all you get is hearts. And 4 hearts, it's a lot of love. So honestly, I would do it for love. I would kill Kamsky for love. I would.
And I think it would also be a lot of
there.
pride.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can get the kill onto Kamsky in these scrim environments, then you know you're on the right track to taking out some events. You know you're doing well in terms of your improvement levels. He is like a gatekeeper for competitive Spellbreak almost. If you beat Kamsky, you know you're reaching that upper echelon. So he's going to continue to try to prove himself as we have 5 games remaining here. In the future, we're going to be more flexible with the schedule, but we got to make sure we're testing out all the different facets of these broadcasted scrims. We got all sorts of emotes in the chat as well. I believe that's Timmy's emote. Yeah, let's go. Shout out to Timmy, the Pyro Master, as we get into the game 2 right now.
Yeah, 100%. Immediately on board with Scylla. Gets the Pyro, actually, with the air offhand. Wind offhand is always a nice one to go with, but you got to be under a lot of pressure if you start out with low damage. Does luckily have the epic version of both Gauntlet, but Kamsky. I mean, why do you have to run into Kamsky straight away? Honestly, it's just unfair at this stage. Kamsky not even running a very high build at the moment with the Toxicologist and the offhand Lightning. Is an epic Lightning though, so you can burst down someone out easily from range. Even's got that flight rune for a quick escape, so you'll never be able to get on top of Kamsky in this round so far.
Yeah, Majin gets a kill onto Black Labby. Crashy gets a kill onto Kael'Nor. So you can see Element Shellcasters are coming into this scrim consistently. We're going to have OSK in here later as Kamsky. Oh my goodness, man. He flicks up AKA Genius to start the fight, flies directly up and drills him in the skull to take his second kill. And like you said, Man of Class, when you run into Kamsky at the start of the game, you just got unlucky. Bastion LMAO gets a kill with Stone in the kill feed, and we're going to see Kamsky just secure this loot nice and relaxed.
I mean, it's also a lot of, just getting the right loot at the start. Kamsky gets very lucky there, starting out with... I mean, obviously he starts out with Toxicologist, that's his choice. But then getting that Lightning, getting that Frost Gauntlet straight away after, which is very nice. Now, Ouchers on that Stone Shaper with actually Protective Barrier as a talent. Can take a lot of damage early on. We'll be able to definitely, even with recovery, like if you hit him with one shot and then with a big second one, just absorbs both quite easily, to be honest. It's a very, very tough one to break through. And if you get that Stone Skin going, Oucher's going to be in a great position to keep on pouncing on you. We'll now be able to run away from this Toxicologist as he keeps firing at them. At least I think it's Toxicologist. Don't think that's an offhand. Take some damage to their armor, but of course you can just heal that right back up with that Shockwave. And now they have a Flight Rune. Bye!
It is pretty interesting, though. He is rocking that focused mana with the Fortitude talent, so that is quite a different selection than we're used to seeing with the Stone Shaper. Whoa! Thank you for the gifted
Roman
sub
Gnome.
Roman Gnome. Thank you, my friend.
Love to see it. Support the community, support the tournaments. Of course, all proceeds go to the Element prize pools. So, yeah, definitely good on you for supporting, well, Kamsky in his next prize pool win, honestly. But, yeah, still very nicely done. Now we're going to be on board with Crashy. Crashy always talking smack about you on the scrims, and is now just trying to get away from their opponent. Going to get taken out by Toxicologist, it looks like. Rocking the Tempest build, are you? You have a legendary Toxic Gauntlet. Fight back, Crashy. He's trying to do that now with some wind shears, but it's only a regular one. Not really going to do a lot of damage with that one.
Well, yeah, it's tough as well because you see that his opponent has a Frost here, and I agree with you, Man of Class. He should not be pushing back so far. That Frost is going to hit you hard when you take line of sight, but Crashy might have a chance now. Legendary Toxic's going to do huge damage as he doesn't get his opportunity to flick. You see the fight head on, though. Crashy knows his opponent took the Vanishing Mists, gets a bit of space here to make sure he doesn't get hit by any sort of Outbreak charge. Smart play by Crashy. He's going to just disengage this one, but his opponent has followed him all the way through. Crashy just has a couple ticks of HP. Recovery's going to help him a little bit. I don't know if he gets out of this one, Man of Class. This is a very hard situation for our hero, Crashy.
It really is. There's a lot of armor pots, though, so if he's able to get the small windows in, he can get those small ones. The armor can get back up. Of course, Toxicologist, easy to break that back down. But against this meta build, the Tempest with all the mobility can actually be quite jarring to get, especially with that... get the Wind Nado, get back up there. Now able to get up close to the enemy. Just don't get frozen up, Crashy. Whatever you do, nice jump up. Able to keep duking their enemy down, actually. Very nicely done. But will now be finally under fire, gets in close and just misses that that last slap. Rush Frog saw them get far in the last game. Not at all surprised to see them pull this out. And now they've got the legendary Toxicologist Gauntlet. That's something we're going to be looking forward to in the next game, in the next rounds, and is very close to reading up on their talents as well. Official predicts now they coming in with the Stone Shaper and the Toxic Offhand, though. That is a bit of a different build, but still can do a lot of burst with that.
Yeah, it is tough, though, because he has the common belt, and I do think that this build with the Toxic Offhand really requires you to get up close. You know, Stone Shaper, you have very limited range, and Toxic is not doing you any favors, so he's going to have a very little effective HP to scrap with. But now he's going to push forward, actually. Sees a chance to maybe third party, tries to shoot the rock down the hill, gets one to connect for hard, but doesn't get the kill. Lanky Sea Moose is the one to secure the front side of that, so Predicts is now going to push forward. Spring Step off cooldown, gets around the edge, very good angle, but the opponent did not read it. And now you see Predicts gets the Spring Step once again, gets a nice flick and sees just how low his opponent is. That's a crucial aspect of comp, is damage checking your opponent to make sure you have enough information to keep pushing a fight. But Predicts has completely lost his opponent here, and that is unfortunate for him. That looked like a prime opportunity to take out Lanky Sea Moose.
They'll still run into them. There's more fighting going on here. I think there's actually another player that came in. Ooh, nice Shadow Step to dodge it, but it just went straight back into that boulder, unfortunately, with that dash rune. Now, Official Predicts trying to get that third party that actually came in. This is not the player they were chasing before. But unfortunately, I mean, they all just choose to disengage. I think he's trying to get a better belt, which you saw dropping somewhere. It's exactly what he does. Official Predicts picked up the blue one, immediately gets some armor up with the shockwave. And now Official Predicts under a lot of fire. Oh, that's a lot of damage in one go. Nice ice lands, and you might just be done here. It's indeed what happens. Rush Frog gets another one out of the game.
Yeah, I just want to give a quick shout out to Hingle McCringleberry for the $50 donation. Thank you very much, my friend. That kill was dedicated to you. Rush Frog is slaying these fools for that money right there. Thank you for the $50, though. Seriously, we do appreciate it. And now we see Majin is in a fight of his own. He's full HP, full armor as well, as Gigabyte gets a kill onto Bryuto. Now we see the rotations continue. Majin is playing this one very, very safe, MOC. You see he has full HP, full armor, and great loot, but he isn't actually pressing forward too aggressively. He's going slow here.
He should. But he should. He has Stone Shaper and a fire offhand. Like, why are you not pushing? You need to be closer to get that damage down, Majin. You cannot just be fighting at range. You'll never hit anything. Finally getting close. Nice boulder straight away into the face. Firewall up to cover their other angle, but unfortunately they have someone pushing that as well. Might be actually double teamed by the one they were fighting before and the third party that comes in, but Majin able to actually take some armor up here. Nicely done. Just able to get away from that. And I think all three parties there are like, you know what? It's a little bit too much damage. I'm fine healing. I don't need to push this right now, especially against a Pyro or a Stone Shaper with a fire offhand. That's not what you want to run into.
I mean, yeah, you saw also the focused mana Stone Shaper slam to crank out 52 damage right there. We got another donation. This one's from the Roman Gnome for $20. Thank you so much, guys. You are flooding us with love right now, and we are only in game 2 of 6. What a great start to these broadcasted scrims. We always appreciate your support, and we're going to keep this one rolling. As we look over at Kamsky now, the star of the show for many of these events, is just rolling off with a quick potion. Looks like he does have somebody in his sight somewhere. Spots him and hits him. 57 off the rip now. Armor not quite broken, but Kamsky still with a great shot over the ridge. That one does not quite get through. Oh my god, this guy will not miss. No! Hate him to miss. Mancy goes down from a deep shot from Kamsky, and oh my goodness, looks like more highlights coming out of him today.
Yeah, definitely. Doesn't even have a lot of armor, so it's fine if you stay at range, but now you have the invis going on. Vanishing Mist straight onto your opponent with the Outbreak. Kamsky under very high pressure now, might actually go down. This is a situation that Kamsky is not often finding themselves in, but of course, just gets the heal off straight away because of the recovery, able to Vanishing Mist away, and Kamsky is fine. Even picked up some big shield pots. Can just heal everything back up now. Never wanted to win that fight, just wanted to debate someone and giving them armor pots.
This is what I do love about showing these scrims on broadcast. For anybody at home who doesn't watch too much competitive Spellbreak, the best players in this scene, like Kamsky, are so good, partly because they're so consistent. In every game they play, they do not make mistakes very often. As you see Wonderful now getting pushed aggressively throws down the Frost Sorcery, but Neurotic was going to push through it and finish the kill. The camera will bounce back over to Kamsky as he secures a bit more of this loot, and there's 7 people left in the game as he sees the explosion in front of him. Looks for another shot, but the opponent jumps just in time to get out of the way. Kamsky's firing some shots into the distance. No damage going to land directly. Now he's going to have his chance to push up. It looks like he just pinged something to himself. No teammates, but he's still communicating with his own brain. Kamsky looking for an angle here, trying to get the jump shot. His opponent's going to push right into a Mana Class, but never mind, he wants out of this one. Kamsky is on the hunt.
Yeah, it really is. Takes a little bit of that toxic damage, but will just be fine. Vanishing Mist stays away. Actually, it's the Shadow Step rune. Now it's in the zone, but we'll be fine. Have plenty of meds, plenty of time to just get back into it. Just gets the armor pot off. Nicely done. Will not actually have that many exiles so far. We're not used to seeing with only 3, but it's that last circle where Kamsky usually racks up a few just to get the win out. Bouncing over to the next player, though, we're going to see a no for one. It's TTV, actually. Have not seen him so far this round. He's actually just healing up a bit, so we're jumping over back to Gigabyte. Good to see them in the last zone. 6 exiles, 4 others breakers in. Could actually get a 10 bomb. It is going to be a close one, but, you know, it's not that easy to predict what's going to happen. Double Spring Step because the Runic Fluency, of course, running out with the Pyromaniac as well as that Conduit. The very, very popular build, of course. And honestly, yeah, they're looking pretty good on everything, except maybe that Spring Step rune. You know, it doesn't recharge as quickly. The Runic Fluency will help you out in that aspect. Takes a little bit of a back and forth with their enemy, but actually there's a third party coming in there. So Gigabyte just wants to take a back seat, maybe get some armor back, and just see what unfolds up there in the mountain.
It is cool, though, because you did mention before we started Game 1, you said you're looking for people to try new builds. We know Gigabyte's constantly playing Conduit, but he's actually rocking Pyro here in Game 2. But getting back to the action, Rushfrog under the hill. Also, quick correction to chat. Silo, no, we do not have a delay on this event. This is 0-second delay because it is a scrim broadcasted. But good question anyway, and we understand why you may not expect, or you expect us to have a delay. But we're trying something new here with more chat interaction and a little bit less sweaty gameplay as we got the scrims going on here. But it looks like the sweat is still at the all-time high here as Rushfrog bouncing around. We got looks like Toxicologist v Toxicologist once again in the final circle as Kamsky and Rushfrog are just dancing around the high ground here, trying to make sure they're watching their backs with the storm covering them just a bit, and no one is going to take out Gigabyte. So now there is 3 players left in this game, 2 Toxicologists and 1 Pyro, I believe. Kamsky now looking for an attempt on Rushfrog, gets over, but he misses a crucial Outbreak slap, and now he looks for a return shot, doesn't get it to go, but spots the invis, gets out of the way of the CC. He does not have Harmony, so that would have connected. Look at that, he's actually rocking Stone Offhand. This is such a different build than we're used to seeing out of Kamsky. So interesting as he continues to chase Rushfrog. One more tick is going to do it, and it goes down. We got a 1v1 now. Kamsky versus no one TTV.
Yeah. It's honestly, that's going to be a very hot one. And Kamsky, without any armor, already takes that first firebolt. A bit of damage, trying to heal up, but no, goes for the frost lance. Needs to get a shot off, otherwise this is basically over. Even Kamsky's going to have a tough on winning this one. Play safe.
Yeah, when he will probably still look for this angle, though. We know Kamsky, look at that, right there's an example. He gets away with an extra pot because of the way he managed to break line of sight. Kamsky now going to have to make a play here to win the game. He is at a strong disadvantage, like you mentioned, Man of Class, and no one is looking to capitalize. Gets big damage, and look at how healthy he is. Full armor on him as it gets ticked down just a little bit from the Toxic Spray. Kamsky, you can see how he's just trying to keep applying corrosion to break armor, but oh no.
The zone.
Takes a tick from the storm. Yeah, the zone tags him, and no one finishes off. That's going to be game 2. No one taking the W. Kamsky did win game 1, but doesn't manage to secure the second match.
Yeah, honestly, very, very impressive from no one to actually get that one out. Of course, Kamsky was in a tough position, but that's still strategy. You can still choose to not engage in that earlier 1v1, maybe break up the fight and then get shot yourself. Wait for that last player to be done. You know they're going to have taken some damage. And with your full armor and your full health and your recovery on, you just have way too much over them. Even at the high ground advantage. Like, there was nothing that didn't go no one's way there. So congrats on them picking that one up. Of course, still unranked scrims, but it's still, you know, bragging rights. Get some scrim bucks on there. You know, you can cash those in later in the tournament, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, something as well to note about the play that we just watched is people always comment on pyro toxicologist interaction, and you see how much it limits the toxicologist there when you know you're fighting a pyro 1v1. Man of class, we saw Kamsky having to hold his cloud for very, very specific moments because he's playing against a pyro. If you're toxicologist versus toxicologist, you can be much more liberal with throwing your cloud out, proccing your vanishing mists, re-triggering outbreak. But Kamsky had to play that fight very awkward. As you said as well, he was a heavy disadvantage on HP and armor, so no one is going to push that to take the W. I want to give a shout out to Rush Frog as well in that game, though. I thought he played fantastic. Rush Frog has always been a very, very good mechanical player in the community. It's great to see him come out here and smack some lobbies around. Didn't manage to place higher than third in that second game, but that is still an accomplishment considering the players we see out here today, MOC.
Yeah, and I think even more are going to be joining. I already saw Tifa in the lobby say, you know what, I'm just going to go in that lobby next as well. Some other players, of course, OSK is going to be coming in later on. Not this game yet, probably, but probably the next one after. So yeah, a lot to look forward still. No just clean sweeps for Kamsky tonight. We'll actually be maybe calming down a bit after this one. Maybe have to refocus. Maybe hook up with even bigger vengeance. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, very, very uncharacteristically as well in that last fight, not even hitting one, ice lance. I know it's a bit closer range. It's tougher to do. And if you stand still, you can get hit by that AoE from the fireball. But still something I would expect to at least be attempted, but it just couldn't come out. There was just too much pressure, too much disadvantage. And sometimes the cards don't come your way. And that's the beauty about Battle Royales, though. It's the beauty about a game like Spellbreak. You cannot always play it the exact same way. You need to keep adapting to the situations. And sometimes the luck, or the RNG as they call it, just won't quite fall your way. But how do you deal with that? How do you come back from that? That's all why we got multiple games. That's why we just don't do one game and it's over. That would be too easy. Got to do it over multiple ones. And so far, Kamsky with a number 1 and number 2. If this was scored, doing really well.
Yeah, for sure. He's always doing well in these events, it seems like. It was cool to see Kamsky as well take the Stone Gauntlet for a couple fights and then drop it to take the Frost for the last 4 players. That was a cool little interaction. We see him whipping out some test builds, maybe doing a small bit of Stone Shaper testing, Stone offhand testing. As now we got Borsalino in the scrim. He's coming out here on his classic Stone Shaper, trying to get a noodle kill. Doesn't actually secure it with the noodle. Instead hits the boulder onto Kifi. Kifi goes down, and Hoof gets a kill onto Pingu early in this game 3.
Kifi not having a great night so far. Might come back in later for another game. Of course, game 3 going to take a break after this one, but not just yet. Staff has 5G. I don't know if we do. I don't know if anyone has 5G on the staff currently, but we'll check. We'll check after for you. No worries. We'll come out with the Stone Shaper as well. A lot of Stone Shapers tonight. I actually like seeing that. Just a little bit of more the ground and pound action. A lot of sustain, has a scavenging, the recovery. Even the mana, that's the mana focus, right? That is the mana focus. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a bit newer to the game than some of you might think, and yeah, right now just a lot of sustain, a lot of tank in that build, which for a Stone Shaper is very characteristic. I like it.
Yeah, well, this is actually such a tough spot for a Stone Shaper to fight, though. This maze area is really hard to get a clean angle out from that shockwave. So Staff has 5G is actually going to benefit from this Tempest trailing him into a new area. This castle is also not the greatest for Stone Shaper, so it looks like his opponent is keeping that in mind as he rotates. And look at that. Speaking of keeping it in mind, he drops him off with 4 straight fireballs. Dex, MTS, TTV with the assassination. And speaking of Stone Shapers, we see Megaverse in the kill feed as well. So it's cool to see more and more different builds come out from these players who have different preferences. We know Megaverse, is a common Stone Shaper player. He's known in the community for popping off on the class. We see Majin on Stone Shaper as well. So it looks like people are actually changing up their builds coming into these scrims here.
Yeah, maybe it has something to do with the announcement we got today, about and the leaks we've been seeing around about the new stuff that's going to be dropping anytime soon. Might be prepping for something you think that's going to be theory crafted back then. But right now, all we can theorize is that they like playing it in this game. We see the conduit build here on Zen, running it with the toxic offhand, and actually the legendary one. I mean, how happy can you be? And can even pick up a third one if they want to go for an even more bursty option with a Stone Shaper, for instance. Because you got that Spell Slinger, and I love seeing the Spell Slinger. I like playing Avatar with it, but I also know that a lot of it comes down to which runes you pick up. Because if you get the double rune, you can swap it out mid-fight. It's great, especially with a conduit overcharge.
Yeah, for sure. And Zen is also known for his technique with the rune swapping. Earlier in the early patches of this game, he was always big braining some new strategies. So we'll see if he pulls that out. Also, something to keep in mind for anybody who's viewing this scrim is that because of the nature of the scrim, you will not always see the exact same 30 people in these games. We have over 30 people, I believe, scrimming, so the lobbies will fill with a different arrangement of those scrim players. So if you're keeping an eye on one person and you see their name not in the kill feed, that is why. They might be in the second lobby, and due to having no spectator client, we can only broadcast one lobby at a time, and we are now looking at this one, which includes Megaverse hitting a 42 with the fireball back-to-back, and back-to-back air shots as well for double 30s.
Dang.
Megaverse beautiful with it, showing you guys how to make Stone Shaper work even with its limitations off the ground. Almost gets a couple to go on the flying target. Gonna have to burn both spring steps, but look at that runic fluency triple stack. So look at that tracking. He's gonna be able to follow this opponent through to the end. Sees him pop up and hits him in the back. Oh, Zyment used AA, gets dropped off by Megaverse. Some beautiful fireballs coming out there.
Yeah, sees that offhand potential for the legendary Tempest, but it's like, nah. I gotta be able to do some more air damage with that stone, next to that Stone Shaper. I gotta stick with my Pyro, and I get it. It's definitely a good way to go. Mega First now under a lot of pressure though. Toxicologist against him. That armor just disappears straight away. We'll get a few back with that Shockwave, of course, what you need to have going, and is now again under a lot of pressure from the same player. Still losing their armor, still behind a little bit, and that conduit fire back onto him. Shadow step over the wall. Might actually pull this one back. Play save. This is so close. How do you even? You were so ahead. Megaverse takes down one. Wonderful. Wow, that's a nice spelling of that name. I've never seen that before. I love it. Wonderful. Unfortunately, you couldn't come out of Megaverse, but that's definitely a learning opportunity for you there. Don't push your advantage too much, because that was just, like, you can see it here. He's on the low ground, switches the position to the high ground, and then you know that Stone Shaper, they're not going to be able to get above you as easily. That mobility is not going to favor them as much, so you can just slam them as soon as they come behind that wall. Nice use of the Spring Step rune as well, and it's just Megaverse for the win indeed.
Yeah, and some really great points coming out from the chat. Spockish saying that patience is key, and Arcane Raven saying that he didn't lose his cool. Those are really great points to bring up about Megaverse's play in that situation. In Spellbreak, it is so key that when you get put on the back foot or the defensive position, you still deal damage. In this game, if you are running away too hard and you're not putting any pressure out, you will just get chased continuously. Megaverse knows that as he backs up, still dealing huge damage and turning the fight in a millisecond right there. Also, thank you for the love, Spockish, on the replays. Yes, that is courtesy of Dr. Nut, the production manager, working in those replays, so that's a big shout out to him as we see Sharp Cheddar now moving around the side. Runic Fluency triple stack, so he has a lot of mobility, but the lightning is still going to follow him through. He's in a bad spot on this low ground, getting jumped on as well, but a really great prediction. Thinking that that opponent is going to throw his cloud down, drops the fireball to stop that attempt, and now Sharp Cheddar might get away with this one, as he does have some pots to drink.
Yeah, and every time he gets hit by 1 or 2 lightning shots, can just use that shockwave to get a bit of armor back. It's a beautiful place to be, and will never actually take any realistic damage because it just gets, healed back up. Now it takes indeed those armor pots, take a little bit of a small health potion. Cheddar actually in a pretty good place to fight now, but they cannot do that again because now they have no meds left. They need to go for those fights, and without recovery, maybe find some meds as well if you get the chance, because there's still 15 other players left. You haven't gotten a single exile. Cheddar just good at running, maybe. I don't know. Maybe he needs to get more damage in.
Yeah, but like you mentioned, though, it is very hard at the end circles to pick up resources. Once you get down to about 10 people, if you do not have a full belt of pots, you're going to have to look far and wide to fill yourself up. We see Nifty now as well on the far angle, has the legendary dash, so the cooldown for that is tiny. SK Majin gets a kill onto only JT, and Kamsky finishes off Whispers. These fights continue to break out here as no one is now taking some pot shots with the Frost, trying to connect on something. The 75 hits, focused mana is going to amplify the damage there, and his opponent is not scared though, continues to push up, and this is what you like to see, but this is also what you like to see from no one, as he just melts out his opponent. Kael'Nor is going to steal the kill. That was Zen860 who was pushing onto no one, and he actually gets melted from 2 different angles. Megaverse for the win, gets a kill onto Perplexity, and Megaverse is off to a very hot game 3 right here on the Stone Shaper.
Very nice game indeed. Kael'Nor actually only got 1 exile here, so we'll just go for that Frost Alacrity, get around the map a bit quicker, and run the Toxic offhand. Not at all a uncommon build, just a lot of mobility in there. Will not have the closer range mobility and the vanishing mist you get from the toxicologist class, but still able to do the same slapping damage that you can do with that. Kamsky now gets under fire by 1 or 2 players that were already fighting each other. Just happens to be in the middle of things, but immediately turns it around with that conduit class, just gets the overcharge on. What a few shots that came out there from Kamsky. Thinks there's still a player in this cavern, but instead chooses to heal up and go for the fight after. Only 9 other breakers. Kamsky in a very good place. And we see Megaverse with the double kill still in the kill feed. Just a man out for the later.
Megaverse continues his reign of terror here, as now Kamsky's going to have to pick this fight one-on-one. Look at the dash come out. Kamsky, though, just playing this so expertly, making sure he's always watching his position. 34 with that fireball. Going to just need 1 more for the kill. Somebody did hit him on the side with Toxic, though, so there's multiple angles to this fight. Kamsky has to be a little bit patient, as he wants to make sure he doesn't get caught in a bad spot. Oh my god! He read that one like a book. Player 2 gets sit down in front of him, as Kamsky finishes off the kill with that runic fluency. No charges, though. It's going to just take a second to pot here, man of class. We're down to single digits. Do you think Kamsky, early prediction, but do you think Kamsky is going to take this game 3?
He can. I think he definitely, Kamsky always can, but it might be tricky for him considering what else is on the field. Can do a lot of damage, but those Stone Shaper builds that can maybe come onto him later on could be very jarring, especially if you want to fight relatively close range like Kamsky maybe wants to now. He's under so much pressure, low health, no armor, got a few pots left. You might get this exile, but there's another one shooting at you. You see those icicles coming from the other side of the map with the toxic cloud. Kamsky is able to heal up some shields here, but gonna take a lot of damage from this storm. Will actually not be able to heal up anything from that. It's only got the health potions left. Picks up the mana vault. Don't really know why. They think they basically got everything they need, but it might just provide a distraction and lure someone over there. And that's always a good tactic to go for.
Yeah, if Kamsky can get somebody to walk into him with that with that fire damage on the offhand, the conduit as well to melt somebody as they approach, that is ideal. We got Dex MTS on the Tempest, switching up the choice of class here as he looks for the flick, hits a beautiful toxic spray, as now he continues the reign of terror, trying to slap down this opponent who's low, no armor. But Kamsky is going to spot him out and probably finish that kill as Dex MTS eats a frost snipe from deep. He's definitely going to look for cover as we're going to pop over to a new angle. Drasticon, TTV, a very legendary pyro player in the community, whipping it up here with that DF type of AoE build. Got Thirsty as well, so it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out. We know that recovery is so crucial in the final circle situations, but the star of the show, Megaverse here in Game 3, continues to keep this push up. Kamsky gets the kill into no one TTV, and Megaverse is playing on the back foot now, using the S key to get a bit of damage down, but nothing will connect. Now he will have a second here to take a pot, no Thirsty, so it will take another half second to drink these down. Megaverse does get it off though, Mana Class. That's huge for him as this game unfolds.
Yeah, a lot of low exile players in this last circle, though. There's been a lot of hiding apparently going on, or just a lot of kill stealing. You see it here from Sharp Cheddar. Still alive, still kicking, but still no exiles. Now goes up against, I think that's Megaverse that they're going up against. They've got to be under a lot of pressure straight away. And this is what happens if you're in a fight with Megaverse. You just get blown up. Unfortunate for you, but Megaverse is going to be super happy about that. 6 exiles on the board, 4 other players. Again, potential for a 10 bomb, but I don't think it's going to happen this time around because Kamsky already takes down Drasticon, who is also still on 0 exiles, mind you.
Yeah, so Sharp Cheddar will fall there. 4 people left, so Kamsky's going to be dwindling down this lobby as well. Mancy now trying to just work his way up the side of that wall. You see him take some lightning shots at what should be Kamsky in the distance. We got 2 conduits in this final circle. Megaverse, though, is up front in the front side, dropping damage. Mancy's in a great spot as a conduit to just keep peppering damage, but let's get that camera over to Megaverse if possible. I would love to see how he's approaching the front side of this fight, as it looks like Megaverse is now just waiting for his Spring Step cooldown. It is double stacked. That boulder will double stack as well. Tons of sorcery damage available to Mega, as he is just taking high ground. Very smart again. What do you think about the final circle that this is unraveling to for Stone Shaper specifically? Do you think this benefits or hurts Megaverse's chances?
I mean, there's a lot of high ground. There's also like inside structures. There's a lot of angles that can be blocked for that shockwave, and even for the boulder. To be fair, you know, the same can sort of be said for Pyro and Conduit, so it's not as bad, but as much as they're able to just keep on the high ground, keep on flying, it's going to be harder to hit a lot of those Stone Shaper abilities. So Megaverse probably has to rely a little bit more on maybe some mid-air boulders and some Pyro shots, because that shockwave is unlikely to get much value now.
Yeah, we have some consenting opinions in the chat. Spockish has his money on Mega, and Inflatable Koala has his money on Kamsky. Let's see which one of you two is correct in your predictions, as we have 3 people left here. Megaverse still in here with Kamsky as well. 2 of those bets going to be hedged here. Megaverse drops his Firewall Sorcery, doesn't actually get direct damage, but will back up with that Spring Step. Look at him use that passive on the Stone Shaper, but still eats damage for the extension. Now he's going to get pushed forward here. Does have that legendary stone, so the sorcery damage is going to be quite high for that double boulder release. Megaverse will have a second to drink an HP pot, and if he can get this off, it's crucial to this endgame situation. Having 100 HP going into your fight with triple recovery is going to make more difference than almost anything, as Megaverse looks to keep on pushing here. Keeps on slamming the ground, dropping damage where he can, connects on a 44 across, and this is a weird 1v1v1 where every player has a spot carved out for them. Megaverse, though, just breaking the borders here, keeps on pushing, trying to hit an air shot. Kamsky assassinates Mancy. Now it's a 1v1 situation. Megaverse goes forward, takes a bit of lightning damage. Kamsky is playing very patiently. Megaverse hits some beautiful air shots, though, 234s, and one more should do it if he can get it. Firewall connects. One more air shot is going to go. If it does, and it hits! Kamsky will drop right there as Megaverse takes game 3. It looks like the prediction was correct from Spockish, I believe it was, who said that Megaverse was going to take it. He is correct on his bet, and that is game 3 wrapped up.
Yeah, Spockish should be on the casting analyst desk here. No, but it was really fortunate as well for Mega that entire circle moved away from all those structures. A lot more open space, more room to hit your slams, hit your shockwaves, hit those boulders midair. And of course, Kamsky wasn't really running a high aerial mobility build, so couldn't really keep flying up in the air. Was going to get hit by some of those abilities. And then if you add the extra pyro shots in the air, you just money. Megaverse just, getting that game together. And the conduit, as good as it is, as much as you were shocking Megaverse there, it couldn't burn down the armor fast enough. He consistently got back the stone skin, everything coming up Megaverse. And what we saw from him the entire game that we came back to Megaverse, it was just his game to lose, really, with the performance they were putting up.
I mean, something that's so cool about watching Megaverse play Stone Shaper, and I think this is a great point to take home if you're trying to learn the class, is that the way he works with the fire in the offhand, you will not be successful at Stone Shaper unless you can contest players in the air with a fire or a frost. Megaverse showing the effectiveness of that strategy as he drills air shot after air shot after air shot on multiple opponents. So that is going to be the end of game 3. We do have a quick 5-minute halftime for the players and us casters and you viewers to take a quick break. It will be short, just 5 minutes. It'll be shorter than the regular broadcasted events. And we will be back with 3 games to wrap it up today. Man of Class, anything to say before we let the people take a break?
I kind of just don't want to take a break, but I know we have to. And honestly, my ball is getting a bit empty, so I think we should. But stay hydrated, everybody. Don't forget to drink. It's very important.
Perfect. So we'll be back in a bit. Welcome back from that short little 5-minute break. We got 3 more games to wrap up the day. This is the first time we've done these casted element scrims. Remember that they are unscored, so these players have all the chances in the world to try out some new builds. We saw some crazy stuff. We saw some extra Stone Shaper action in these first 3 games. Still a lot of Toxicologists, though. A consistency through all of the qualifying events and finals we've seen. Not many people looking to branch out away from Toxicologists. What are your thoughts on that? Is it because of the class or because people just love to play the style that they're comfortable with?
It's just, a lot of it has to do with the class. You got to think. I mean, one of the most popular runes is already Shadow Step. You put on top of that a Toxicologist class with the Vanishing Mist, where you just get the boost and the invisibility. Throw another one on and another one on. Even with Runic Fluency, you can be invisible for so long. You don't even need invisibility runes anymore. The mobility comes into it. Of course, do a lot of burst damage with those slaps. You break the armor down quite easily. There's so much potential for Toxicologists for combo plays as well. It's just there's almost no reason why you wouldn't run it. That can be set for multiple classes, but Toxicologist seems to just have everything falling together for it, including the talents and the runes and the class itself, that it's hard to argue against it. It doesn't mean other things aren't viable. I mean, I got so hot for Mega versus Pyro mid-air shots, I have to take off my vest here. So it's not only Toxicologist that takes the cake, but it does actually make a lot of sense why people like running it. I mean, I like running it myself, so no, I get it, definitely do.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other thing, you mentioned it briefly, is the skill ceiling kind of idea with Toxicologists, right? If you have so many chances to trigger Outbreak, you have so many rune charges with Fluency, with your Vanishing Mists, It opens up a chance to blow somebody up in about 2 seconds. They can't even react to it in time. We saw Kamsky do that a handful of times in the first 3 games. Trago is another person who's very, very good at picking his moment as Toxicologist and just assassinating. So it's a cool class to see. Definitely going to be something to be commonplace in the meta for a while. Conduit, though, I'm surprised we haven't seen as much of it. Kamsky whipped it out in the game 3. He changed from Toxicologist to Conduit. I'm hoping to see more people jump onto that Conduit for the final 3 games. I do like watching it at a comp level, even though it gets a lot of hate.
Yeah, and of course, it wasn't just Kamsky. You know, that final circle had no Toxicologist almost in it. It was 2 Conduits and a Stone Shaper. So it's not like it's the end-all build. No, we saw OSK tweeting it earlier today. He said, you know what? If you're not running meta, do you even want to win anymore? Now, OSK is in the lobby now, so we can actually judge him on his choices. He was judging us before, and now we get to turn it around on him. I'm very excited to see what he's going to run. And with that quote, I mean, you kind of have to expect he's going to be running meta. You kind of have to. Otherwise, what even are you doing? Pulling out your big mouth on Twitter, right?
That is true. And also, just to, for NT Pro Bro 24 in the chat, these are some Casted Scrims. What you're watching right now is just a little bit of a caster cam intermission as we get into game 4. We just finished a small halftime break, so that's just an update on what we're doing here right now. And speaking of that, we are switching over to the live cam right now, jumping right into that game 4. Looking at it now, we got here so quick. People are still dropping into the map, and that is professional level broadcasting here, ladies and gentlemen. Gonna get that loading screen, which maybe not as professional as Mancy is gonna dish a bit of damage across the river here. Gets 2 5s to stick, but his opponent will continue to rotate out of this one. Silo gets a kill onto GGC Zen TTV, and Mancy will just chill in the corner, it looks like, for a sec.
Yeah, there's definitely not a lot going on here to maybe get Sharp Cheddar. Oh, Sharp Cheddar actually with the Conduit straight onto their enemy. They're going to hide behind the box in their invisibility room. Cheddar on a lot of good position here to take maybe some damage out. Actually, able with the Stone Shaper to land a few very good shockwaves here. Now trying to get some offhand Conduit shots on them, nice lightning bolts, and they're just in such a good place. Their opponent really has not much health left. Didn't even get an armor pot off. This is going to be very, very good. Looking good for Cheddar, but they lost a lot of health. It was a good burst that came in from their opponent. And Cheddar, you got to be careful, man. You're so close, but Knight.
Oh, that was so heartbreaking. Something to notice right there, and I hope he's in the chat to read this or hear this. His opponent was 2 HP with CC lock, and the lightning could have finished him, but he was just looking for that shockwave to end it, and the kill will not fall for him. Instead, he's going to eat the death. Rushfrog gets a kill into Cactus Country as this keeps on going, and Fenox, no, there is no delay. I see MOC has already said that in the chat. He's a step ahead of me right here. Really professional right here. MOC coming out with SK Majin as well, pushing a fight now. Boulder off cooldown, sees that, hits the shockwave for 30. Gets a boulder, but it doesn't actually connect. It gets stuck on the side of the wall. Majin has the Chrono Master, making a good use of it right there, actually, to negate some damage. Now he has the HP advantage, but his opponent is going to fly away. And this is what is so wrong about Chrono Master. When your opponent does get low, even when you make great use of the rune, if your opponent has better movement, you cannot follow them. He will just fly away, and SK Majin is stuck here watching him go.
Yeah, it's really about that big brain play, predicting where your opponent's gonna go after you have burst them with their mobility, so you then go back to where they escaped to, and then you can finish them off. But who's gonna predict that when there's a 360 angle you can run away to? No one is. Now Whispers is also maybe not gonna be so lucky with that one. Under a lot of pressure here. Their opponent doesn't have quite a lot of HP left either, just lost all their armor, but Whispers so incredibly low. This is one shot, if anything, will basically finish you off. Might even get shot by a wind shear at this stage, but actually able to run away, not really looking behind them, not really having their head on the swivel as much, but apparently wasn't needed, so can just be safe for a little bit longer. We're gonna go into the next cam. Zen apparently under fire, able to heal up, but I think their opponent spotted them right there. Zen gets a nice lightning strike on that though. That's a good opening shot of damage, but look at their armor just disappearing. This is a 1v1 for the ages.
Yeah, I mean, he had a really good opening, as you said, with the CC landing, but he didn't get the lightning bolt auto attacks to connect. He did not capitalize on the damage, and now his opponent is at even footing. Zen will have his armor completely shattered as he gets jumped on. Fireballs come out as Zen just barely avoids the second one. Does have 51 HP that's ticking up slowly because of recovery, triple stack. as Dex MTS gets a kill onto Kyrie, Caitlyn in the kill feed. Zen gets the teleport bug, but he does get away at the end. His opponent follows him all the way through, and he is pushed into a corner. Oh no, this is tragic. Zen is boxed in, and Wonderful is going to be the one to put the killing blow down.
I still need to see Zen make use of that spell slinger. So far, we've seen them not really have a lot in their inventory to actually swap out. And at that point, that runic fluency that their opponent was obviously running was just going to get more mobility on him. You cannot run away in that stage. You need to win that fight. And they had the opportunity. It's just unfortunate that they couldn't land the blow here. Honestly, yeah, Zen, it's not been a good night for him so far, as far as we can see. But maybe still chances, 2 more games after this.
Yeah, I would love to see Zen whip out a #1 placement. That would be a hype moment on his own broadcast, or pull out a first place like a 10 bomb or something crazy. But anyway, I'm just dreaming as Hoof gets a kill into infinite accuracy. And we're seeing Drasticon's first-person angle as he takes some shots from deep here. Doesn't get any fireballs to connect. He will have increased radius because of his pyro selection. Does have Shadow Step double stacked as well, as he's going to look to try to get an angle. Storm is going to push him and force him up just a little bit. Takes a Firefly into a gauntlet chest. Gets a nice upgrade on the boots out of that one. Takes his Firefly twice here. Nice reuse of the sorcery charge as he tries to get away. Burns his first Shadow Step, and Ilya gets a kill onto Zyment in the kill feed, and this one just continues. Neither of these opponents are scared of the storm damage as they're looking to just scrap in the middle of it. Damage is going to fall all over. Drasticon gets chunked out. Armor is broken now. He has the stone in the offense, so he does have good burst, but look at that. His opponent is just keeping on the damage. And it's SK Majin, a Stone Shaper, actually, who finishes that kill onto Drasticon.
Yeah, and Primo, it's definitely not too late. There's 2 more games after this, and honestly, if you miss it, it's on you. You've been snoozing on some good games, man. Not don't take a nap anymore. I'm always against naps. I don't think I ever wake up after a nap when I feel better. I always feel worse about it. But you know what? Right now, we're going to see if Koreshi's going to feel better about this game later. He's also trying to get back into the non-storm of the map, just using their Tempest mobility to their max, and still in the game. It's already a good sign. Dex now, I don't know what they're doing. I think they're just AFK waiting for something to happen. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just need to go get a drink, I guess. But so far, going to see, Season. Majed gets another one after just getting back to the storm. Just gets another one. Doesn't have any armor pots, though, so might just want to try and find something here out of that loot pile, and does get a few small ones. That's not going to heal him up to full, so still under a bit of pressure.
Yeah, Rushfrog also getting a kill with that Ice Lance. You see that in the kill feed. And now we're on to player 2, one of my favorite Spellbreak players of all time. I love this dude as he's going to get in a fight now. Does look to try to take a pot. Doesn't have quite enough time to burn it off. Fun fact for anybody in the chat, player 2 was the first person I ever shoutcasted Spellbreak with. He does not shoutcast anymore, but he is still a talented player, much better than I am at the game itself. And he's looking to show you that now, as he actually doesn't press this fight, instead taking a quick second to get his bearings. Sees his opponent Shadow Step onto the high ground, looks for the shot, but the crouch is going to help him juke out of the way of it. Player 2 doesn't get much damage to go forward as he looks into this crevice to try to push the fight. Sees that the cloud is out, so he knows his opponent likely took the Vanishing Mists. And another missed opportunity here from player 2. These are 2 shots that would have really helped his chances, and now he's going to have to try to make do with just what's left. Sees one more Oh! Hits him through the invis right there. I just saw a quick flicker of light, and player 2 eats him alive. Spring Step going to be off cooldown. He needs to get out of this fight and get out of it now, MOC.
I mean, look, basically you just had to jinx it. You had to say like, oh, he's not hitting the shots, and now you do the other way, where the roaming gnome, our biggest donator of the night with the subs and the donation, is just taking away another kill there. 2 exiles on their name, looking good on their build. Maybe you could upgrade that pyro, but otherwise very solid. A lot of scrolls read, a lot of equipment. It's looking great for them. Gonna jump out to the Rex player, of course, because we're not done just yet. But Scruffy on Wi-Fi, yeah, I mean, you know how that goes. If your Wi-Fi is not going well, your ping is gonna really scuff you, and there is already a fire NATO that takes away some of their health. Unfortunately, Scruffy just jumps into more fights. Is not being really chased by anybody right now. Actually, has to say that Ice Lance hit them, and it's going to be Oucher just getting that kill.
Yeah, I mean, I love Scruffy, but that is just a highlight of how not to play a fight in comp. If you do not have a single target and you are just looking around every corner, you're a bit disoriented, you will get smashed. And that's what happens is Ouchers takes the third party onto Scruff and finishes off his game. But not a bad game from Scruff overall. We are into the top 15, so he had a solid round. But now the highlight is on Ouchers on that Frostborn, trying to hit a huge shot Gets a little bit of red highlight thanks to that special skill on the class, and uses his alacrity to push forward just a bit now. Gets a chance to get a huge connect, the 59 with the boulder on top of the shockwave, and now look at him use the alacrity once again to get forward, but this is an awkward angle, jumping too far into the fray, and looking at an opportunity to get popped off now. Ilya gets a kill on the kill feed onto Rushfrog, as Ouchers now has to completely run away from this one. Thankfully, that alacrity will come in one more time to help him get out of this one. Using Frostborn quite well, but I think he may have went too far forward there, Man of Class.
Yeah, very nicely. Now, coming to Crash, he's still in the game. Still no exiles, but at least is in the top 15 now. 13 players left in the lobby. And Crashy's still running that Tempest with the offhand Toxic. It's a build that he likes a lot. Of course, with Scavenging Talon, won't have to worry that much about health, so just takes a lot of shield pots with them. And the recovery should also help out with that. Now chasing down the player. This might be Crashy getting their kill off. Trying to follow on the alacrity, also shooting behind, and they get more mobility from their Tempest build, and just smacking down on this other player, using the teleport to get out. And Crashy just maybe has got you baited, maybe just got duped out a little bit. And there's another player on their west. I don't know if they spotted that, but they will just be chasing down two players now. Crashy under putting a lot of pressure on this player. 1 HP left, and will get that exile. Nicely done. I think there's some gold in there that they can pick up. That's indeed a legendary bell. Nice find there. Crypto legendary item. Always a nice accolade to get in that game. And now chasing down the player they saw in the first place. Crashy on a bloodthirsty hunt right now, play safe.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta give a lot of love to Crashy for rocking that Chrono Master rune. You know that this is intentional. He's a Fury Crafter at heart. And Crashy now looking to make a move. Very good play that we saw right there to finish the first kill onto Ouchers. Now he will take a pot around the side of this. Another good decision to maybe just take a step back after finishing the necessary kill. He does have Scavenging 3 stacked. So each kill is going to give him almost 100 active resources. That is massive for a player who plays aggressive like Crashy. Now we see Ilya, another very aggressive player with 5 kills to his name in this game 4. That last one was onto SK Majin. We just missed that angle, but now we're going to see how he cleans it up. Interesting to note, Megaverse and him run very similar stone builds with the fire offhand. Spring Step is well used in these builds, and they're both going to accentuate the same type of game style. He does have 5 kills like we said, so he's off to a hot start here.
Yeah, it really is. Going to Mo Cable TV. Definitely coming in there with a kill straight away. The first exile for him. A lot of low exile numbers in these late games still from a lot of players, and Mo not an exception to that one. I am looking forward to see what they're going to be able to do with this Pyro and now the Frost offhand. Icelands need to hit something. And that first shot's obviously the most important one, because if you don't hit that one, you're going to be having a tough time trying to hit a suspecting opponent rather than unsuspecting. Now run straight into a lightning toxic cloud. That's not what you want to do. Get shocked and slapped away. And does take a little bit of an off thing. Has the recovery on and also takes a bit of a shield pot. Nicely done from Mo. Just able to get back into this one using their double spring trap, maybe even chase down. Does get maybe another lightning strike on him. No, manages to dodge that. Mo in a very good position to just keep chasing down their opponents. They're fine, just taking a bit of a break every now and then though.
Yeah, I mean, him having the blue belt there is not super awful. I mean, he's not stuck with a green or a common, but in my opinion, to be in the final circle with a blue belt is just such a large disadvantage. You're going to be running into people with 40 extra effective HP at the start of a fight unless you third party. And now we see Bryuto looking to push up a fight with that lightning damage, gets a couple ticks to stick, and now he's going to keep on that high ground, spotting out the other large high ground source in the final circle. 5 people left in the game, so there's actually a very small amount of players left for how big the circle is. Now we see Bryuto look for the fire damage, sees his opponent dash out of the way, but gets the CC to land, looks to follow it up with some good lightning damage. Nice work from Bryuto as he gets off to another side step area. Another thing to note from what Bryuto is doing here is he's not sitting on the low ground, but he's hitting pops regardless. The second he steps foot onto a lower platform, Mo Cable and another opponent beat him up. The textures do not load for a quick second there, but Mo Cable still gets credited with the kill. 1v1v1 now, as this is just a continuous mess of action. Cross sorcery going to come down. Mo Cable looking for one more air shot to go here. And this is just them fighting over this high ground, Man of Class. This is insanity.
Yeah, and Mo actually gets the lucky part of that, where they're not really focusing on him, and that's great, because they're still working that blue belt. Now actually got no armor on them. And the scavenging, if they get that last hit, they get half their armor back. That's a great find to find that last hit on the of Kalanor there. Kalanor taking out Crashy earlier on, so that might have been a bit of an avenging, you know, if you're a Crashy fan, you know, you can now be thanking Mo for that. But going straight after their last kill. Both players on relatively equal HP. It's a nice early shot there with the pyro. As the ice lands still in the pocket, but of course runs into the storm twice now. Gets another tick on it. No, he's gonna get it back in. Oh, so close here, Blaze. Is he gonna be able to finish on that kill? No, he gets bouldered in the face, in the back actually. Unfortunate there for Mo.
That was tragic, actually. You saw the spring step get bounced off the side of the terrain on 2 different occasions there. He got bounced, and he probably took, I would say, collectively 55 to 60 damage only from the storm. So that was a little bit of an unbalanced 1v1 due to that, him getting pushed out. I shouldn't say unbalanced, though, because that was a clean 1v1 situation. He just didn't secure the high ground well enough. Ilya kept control of that ledge for the entirety of that 1v1, taking game 4. Great work from Ilya. And we're going to see Game 5 and Game 6 unroll soon here. We got GG's coming out in the chat. A couple people pointing out that circle being quite an interesting one as well. So that's a good point to raise. What do you think about that final circle?
I mean, it is good for Stone. If you're able to be on that high ground, it's a nice even platform. There's not anything that can really give you any more mobility in terms of structure, nothing to hide behind. So it definitely was a good place. You see Mo in chat. I mean, I guess that's Mo because, you know, they're talking about themselves, not quite the same name. So it's hard for me to actually make sure, but I'm guessing that's Mo. Says indeed, like they wanted to grab the dash instead of the spring step. And I mean, I get it. You know, if you get that dash off, you can get back in that circle a lot easier. Spring step doesn't give you that horizontal mobility as much. So that may have been, you know, helping them out a little bit. But honestly, yeah, I mean, it could go either way. But taking that much zone damage is really what closes it out there. Only that one boulder is just enough to finish you off. And unfortunate for Mo, because they were doing really well in the end. But, you know, sometimes it just doesn't fall your way. You don't get that right rune. You're already running with the blue belt, so the loot just wasn't in your favor this game, and couldn't close it out on the back of that, unfortunately. But more games to come. We're probably going to hop into another one pretty quickly. These lobbies have been turning over quite fast, Play Safe.
Yeah, these lobbies have been going very fast. That's a very good point. We saw how few people were left with such a large final circle. Usually there's about 9 or 10 people in that situation, but there was only 4 in that circle. Something else to point out as well right there is that these are not scored. So these players are not submitting scorecards at the end. But if it was, that would be a fantastic game from Mo Cable TV. Even though he didn't secure first place, I think he got up to 5 exiles, maybe 4. Big damage on each of those pieces. A ton of rotations to get himself into that second placement as well. So I think he could be very happy with sitting back after that game. If this was a qualifying event, that would be quite a pop-off for him. So it's nice to see. He also went with the Pyro Stone Shaper 1v1. You brought up how uneven that 1v1 was due to the situation with the final circle. Ilya did a fantastic job of holding his ground and dishing out the damage. And we're going to see what happens in Game 5. I am liking this, though. We have seen quite a difference. Game 1 was Toxicologist versus Toxicologist. Game 2 was a similar situation. Game 3, we had Toxicologist versus Conduit. And now we see Stone versus Pyro. So it's really fun to see the classes change up in all of these different end game situations.
Yeah, it's not been the very similar builds that we see every single time. We definitely like to see variety. And now we're going back into a game, maybe some more variety. Again, I'm still waiting for that Spellslinger success. I still want to see it happen. Maybe Zen's in this one again. I think he might have been out of the last one. Not entirely sure. But yeah, I mean, I'm very excited to see Bastion LMAO. I don't know which Bastion you're referring to in that case. Might be the Overwatch Bastion, in which case I agree. Bastion is, you know, laughing my arse off. Definitely a thing that happens there. Now, Bastion under a lot of pressure straight away, getting melted down by that Toxicologist. Oh, that's not where you want to be. You might just go down straight away. Barely landed, and that is wonderful. Once again, securing exile right there.
Yeah, it is nice for Bastion, though. He wasn't the first one to die. Official Predicts does go down before him, so he does not have the dishonor of being the first exile. Zen860 does get a kill with the Wind Gauntlet, though, and now we see Wonderful having to fight off this third party. Sees that his opponent already has a Shadow Step, but he has a dash, so both players are quite well looted when it comes to runes. Sees an Invis Frost Sorcery, so even though he didn't see the character model, he knows where his opponent is headed. Does not get hit by that Frost Shot as he's going to take one of his own. Doesn't connect, though. Now he will have one more opportunity to really push this fight with some grace. If this takes too long, he might just get third party, and that's the risk, as he will mop it up. GG Stezen will eat that last toxic spray to the face. Wonderful picks up his second kill very quickly in game 5 here.
Yeah, I see the roaming gnome as well in the lobby, taking out another nice kill there on Seasoned Jedi. Not seasoned enough this time around, unfortunately. Zeman Jews AA. Gotta go past the player names. Honestly, some of the player names, I'm really impressed, guys. You really did a good job of being original. It's in a lot of other games. Justin L55, see Primotastic, definitely a name I'm enjoying right now. Picking up a lot of loot here right now. Not a lot of action, but as I say, of course, you get straight on board with Kachin, running the Conduit and the Tempest offhand, air offhand, wind offhand, whatever you want to call it, able to fly away with that flight rune, and with the resources they currently have, the health they have left, might be a very wise choice. We're still getting chased down by a Shadow Step player. I think that's a Frostborn coming out with those Ice Lances. I wanted to go for the Epic Chest, but unfortunately, that's going to be snapped up by someone else. Got to take some heals here, Kachin. Take an Ice Lance to the back, and now really got to find some, because otherwise you're just going to get taken out, and this is just a chase of a lifetime. Cannot really do any damage back. Turns around every now and then. We will just have to wait for their flight rune cooldown. It's a common one. It will take forever to charge, and Lanky Sea Moose just capitalizes on that lack of mobility, on that lack of health, on that lack of counter aggression. Lanky Moose in a great place. 2 exiles, and there's quite a bit of players left still. 26 on the board.
Yeah, I mean, one of the scariest things, though, and you guys saw it from the first-person angle, is when you get low HP, you're backing up, and then you see your opponent drop a cloud and go invis, and you think to yourself, oh my god, if I don't have a rune charge here, I am a dead man. He ends up getting murked by that frost snipe at the end, so it wasn't a toxic slap, but still, that was a moment to remember for that player, as we see now Frith Knight into an immediate fight. Toxicologists all over this game 5. It seems like every angle we switch to has that little toxic icon on it, as no one TTV gets a kill onto MVP Henrik, and this fight will continue. Frith Knight not wanting to push any farther, just wanting to reposition for that high ground. No one TTV does get third party, it looks like, after he secured that second kill. Now he's going to just keep on positioning, trying to make sure that Common Fire can do the most work possible, even at such a low rarity. Spotting out his opponent now, does throw down the firewall, goes for a risky read. This man loves his education, and nothing is going to stop him from getting well read. As he will just peel off of this fight. What do you think, Manaclass? Was this the right move, or should he have capitalized on that third party?
I mean, you can take the high ground here. You can always capitalize on the third party, but you have the Ice Lance in your pocket. You might as well take some shots from range, maybe get some target practice in, and now you're going to be able to capitalize on a player that doesn't really have the same resources that you do. Take away the third one, get a double loot pile. It's not a bad place to be in, especially if you hit those pyro shots. No one just going in hard and deep will just be able to clean up this fight without any trouble, barely losing any health. Staff has 5G. I mean, I guess we just don't, because so far they've been wrong about that.
Yeah, he just popped him off right there. We saw the focus mana also helping out with the damage output. Pyro, with that focus mana, is such a threat in these games. You saw how quickly he popped off on Staff has 5G. That was a third party, but Staff still had very high armor and HP, so it was still a testament to the damage of Pyro. He doesn't even have a ranked up gauntlet. It is still a common wipe as we keep on moving around. It looks like Crashy has switched off a Tempest onto a Conduit build. Gonna be cool to see how that plays out, as we see Majin very, very scared to get away from this cliff. He knows that there's about 4 people on this angle. Sees the patchwork now. Hits a 51 with the help of focused mana. Yes, that's a great start to the fight, as Game in Canada YT gets a kill with the stone as well. Majin just definitely playing this one safe. His loot is looking very great as well, so he's in a good spot to take this. Even though his kills aren't amazing at this point, his loot is telling a different story.
Yeah, and I think a lot of these players, you might not go for the early game aggression, but you can definitely find more purchase, but maybe to try and go for that late game circle, trying to practice on that instead of everything. I was really impressed with that long range shockwave snipe, though. I mean, I know it has a big hitbox, but it's still quite a big animation to travel over there. And knowing that range exactly is something that you really only get over practice over time. If someone says 20 meters, you don't really know what that means until you get into the game. Now Dex, in a very close combat fight on that Tempest with the Toxic offhand, trying to take a lot of mobility to confuse their opponent. And so far it seems to be working. Both of them go very low, and I think there's a third party coming in as well. So he's just going to take the dash from to get away from this one. that Stone Shaper. Not being able to get it, going to be able to hit that shot, and it's going to be Debo from another angle coming in from the back. Third party indeed. It even gets the double kill, maybe. It's going to get close there with the Tempest. That health is very low on the other player there, Debo. You're going to be in a great spot to take another life here. Just got to find them. And I think they know exactly where they are. That's going to be the last few shots. Pretty coming in pretty soon. Debo under no trouble in this fight. Just don't get hit by a boulder and a shockwave in a row. You'll be able to clean this fight up with no trouble. A lot of mobility coming out from their opponent, though. Debo actually not easily tracking down their opponent in this one.
Yeah, he didn't actually follow that one through, and I thought that kill was a sure thing, just like you were kind of saying as well. I thought that was guaranteed,
He had
but
that.
Debo,
he's still
chasing.
And he's still chasing. I think this is the same player over here, still very low. He's just got to get that final hit. He's not getting like the big damage. He's getting a little bit of a poke here and there with the wind shear, maybe one of the toxic slaps, but now finally gets it down. Big takes that last hit. It's close to the circle, of course, has plenty of health to work with. Just going to try and pick up some of his loot that he needs, but we're going to go to the next player. That was a bit of a sloppy run from Debo. If he goes to the later circles, he cannot take that long to finish kills. No one gets another one. This time a lanky C-moves. No icicle snipes from them this time around, and no one able to heal up after that one. Only actually still 14 players left. That's quite a lot for this timestamp.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this one is going a little bit slower than the last one. And something I wanted to quickly mention about that last fight we saw from Debo was it took so long, as you were talking about. He's lucky he didn't get third-partied. That's the big thing right there. He took so long to secure that kill. It is really a blessing that the third party didn't come through. Now we see Crashy, though, as we bounce over. Before we see him too long, he's just drinking pots. And we keep on moving. Zen860 with that blind faith, the rare skin coming out from the Element Administrator. Got that rune charge in the pocket. We see this quite often with Conduit players in the solo matches, trying to make sure they're able to keep a teleport in the pocket so they can move quickly. No one TTV got the kill onto Lanky Seamoose that we just saw a second ago. And as you said, I mean, 14 people for this type of circle is quite a few compared to the last game we saw. We can expect to see a huge conflict when this finally collapses, as Zen might be one of the people doing it, getting himself forward. Cool, quick little high-tech note right there. Zen dropping his sorcery charge right before picking up a new gauntlet, because the cooldown resets anyway. I paused for a second to see if Zen would get the last hit there, and he does. It's onto Debo, and ironically enough, he kills Debo with the same wind spam that Debo finished off the other player with. So we see wind getting traded between players, and that was a very quick little rune swap right there from Zen as well. Very interesting to see that first person.
Yeah, finally we get to see the Spellslinger actually in action, not just equipped. It's what you like to see. There's another rune on the ground. I don't think that's anything that Zen really wants. It's probably just a random legendary. No, actually picks up the flight rune. I mean, you can. You're a Spellslinger. Just put it in your inventory. It might be more valuable than Teleporter in later circles, so you can just keep flying up into the sky. So now going on board with Drasticon, still running that Pyro with the stone offhand. Actually going to be able to pick up an upgrade for that, but will straight away try and go and fight another player. Has a double dash room, so can get very close. Has to be worried about that cold zone. Get icicled up in your snow globe and gets that last hit onto player 2. Very nicely done. Drasticon now in a good place. 10 players in the circle. It's getting a bit smaller, but it's still quite a few players left.
Yeah, I mean, something I quickly want to say in the chat, Arcane Raven is mentioning us. Is there something I'm missing? Does Rune Swap switch when you do your inventory? No, what he's doing right there is right when he switches to teleport, Zen is using his lightning sorcery to trigger the conduit skill that gives him a new rune charge. So no, it does not give you a fresh cooldown. That is the effect of conduit. And that is what I'm talking about when I say Zen does it so expertly. He switches runes and immediately drops a sorcery charge in a millisecond. So it looks like it's an instant recharge, but what it really is an interaction of the class. Zen doing a great job, and that's a great question, Arcane Raven. I'm glad I could provide a bit of clarification. We see Exile now, another very talented player on the Toxicologist, trying to take some shots from deep, but doesn't get any to connect now, trying to look at all these angles and approach this fight slowly. He is definitely playing with his back to the storm, so he doesn't get pushed too hard. Interesting right there, too, dropping open the Mana Vault and then making sure he doesn't get caught for it. He's going to just position slowly. Do you think this is the right move, considering his build?
Yeah, I mean, you can sort of do whatever you want at this stage. You don't really have to get close to players. You can do it with that Toxicologist build. But honestly, the way he's running it right now with the Ice Lances and the Frost offhand, it's very good to just keep running away from everything, especially if you got the double dash rune. Just keep some distance between you and the players. Go mainly for the Ice Lances. Use the Toxicologist as more of a deterrence and an escape tool. It's not bad, especially if you have the Electrity to work with as well. Using a lot of abilities very, very carefully and very expertly, actually, able to use the Vanishing Step to get away. It's a very interesting way that Exile is playing right now, because you would often see players be more aggro, but the way they're able to keep the distance between them and even like 2 or 3 players at the same time, that's all what that positioning is about, and he's getting so much value out of it.
Yeah, and also something with Exile is the way he's keeping his camera consistently flicking and moving. He's registering so many different targets at the same time, and this is key to high-level Spellbreak gameplays, being able to track all these players at once and rotate your position based on all the information that you're quickly gaining as you flick. And apparently he lacked some critical information because Game in Canada snuck up on him and hit him with 2 shockwaves. That does huge damage, and Exile will go down from that. Still a good round from Exile nonetheless, and we see Game in Canada now try to secure the loot, and only Brayuto in the side of Fort Halcyon. This might be an interesting circle, but look at the deletion. Mancy does not get the teleport oftentimes as Brayuto just drills fireballs into his torso and ends him right there. 6 people left in this game, and it looks like we're getting onto a higher pace as Sharp Cheddar is on the Stone Shaper, trying to get these to land. Boulders will come off cooldown in just 1.5 seconds. He'll have an opportunity. Doesn't actually take it now. Continuing the shockwave, and there's the boulder. Damage is still coming out from 2 angles, though. Drastic on TTV will be the benefactor as he finishes the first kill. Now he's going to continue this push. One more is going to do it if he can get it onto the last player here, but he misses and gets the follow-up. Gaming Canada will drop, and 4 people are left here, MOC.
Yeah, it's not a lot of players left in the circle, and we keep seeing Cheddar in the last circle. I want to kind of be a little bit critical of them, as we do see Crashy coming into this last zone. Crashy doing a lot better in their last few games, getting really to that end game, and actually sees 2 legendary items. Doesn't pick up the boots, doesn't pick up the belt. It's going to be a 1v1 to finish it off, as only Brayuto takes down Zen. Zen and Crashy, both element staff, getting back into that end there, and Crashy trying to finish off the conduit, has the health advantage, will take out the win. Crashy showing up, finally getting the value that they needed, and establishing themselves as, a contender for top scrim spots.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see our very own caster Crashy taking a dub right there. That is the game 5 wrapped up, taking that conduit win, holding down that lightning bolt to finish the kill. And that was a nice little end. And we're going to start game 6. So this will be the last game of the broadcasted scrim. In the future, we are going to be more flexible with the time. We might open it up to longer, and we'll see exactly what happens. But for now, we're set at 6 games, and we're about to get into the conclusion of the game 6. Really fun to watch. Yeah. Do you expect, or do you want to make a prediction about who you think is going to take home the 6th game?
Nah, I'm not going to make a prediction, because every game's been won by a different player, and we see wildly different combinations of players in the final circles as well. I don't think it has any point to predict it in this stage, because people keep switching up their builds a little bit as well. It's not as easy to say, oh, they're now playing for the win, so that's why they run this build, and that's why that player is going to be better or worse. That's what the scrims are for, right? It's unranked, nothing on the line, just play your heart out. Obviously try and go for the win, but try and go for the win in maybe a different way than you were before. It's just a very exciting environment to be in. I did see Cheddar in the chat talking about the pinch, but Cheddar, honestly, I was going to be a bit critical about you, but if I keep seeing you in the final circle with no kills, I'm not expecting you to do a lot of damage there, because every single time you get there, if you haven't fought, you're not warmed up, you're not ready for those fights, you're not ready to deal out the damage, and the other players are, because they just keep constantly fighting. So that's my advice to you. Be a bit more aggressive. Try and take some more damage out on players, because honestly, that's what's going to win you games in the end. Not being alive last. No, making the last kill. That's what you need to do.
I mean, that's a great point. A lot of the times when we watch these qualifiers and these scrims as well, even the games we've seen today, the real stars of some of these games are the players who get that momentum at the end. Like Mo Cable TV in game 4. He picked up kill after kill, and that just builds up your confidence in the match to continue to pop off. Players are not ready for that level of aggression sometimes, and if you're playing a class like Pyro, you can really capitalize on those types of plays. That's a great point you bring up, Man of Class, and we're about to get into the 6th game here. Just going to be a quick second as we wait for the players to all get lobbied up, and we'll see a final prediction here. Also, though, something I wanted to mention is you mentioned how players are playing in these games unscored and it's less pressure. And a point from Exile in the chat was that he plays for fun here, using the dash to just try out some mechanics. And that's what we love about scrims, is that it opens up an opportunity for a little bit less sweaty gameplay. You can have fun, you can whip out your game style, and try whatever you want. Now we see only JT in the middle of a fight. Does get one fireball to land, but crucially misses the firewall. In these early fights, your sorcery is so key. Because of the long cooldown on common gauntlets, you only have really one chance to pop off with a big sorcery. As I say that, he will get another chance to drop a firewall, but he blows up the cloud in his face, and that's going to be a crucial error to end his life, MOC.
Yeah, not going to be able to survive that one. And we see already so many kills come out, of course, in the kill feeds early game. Majin actually already taken out, took down 2 kills, but now Drasticon takes them out. So no Majin for the rest of this game. That's quite an unusual sight for this night so far. But Staff as 5G is still in it. We still see JD_Slay, TTV coming in here, trying to follow up on some damage, actually chasing down a player, but doesn't really have quite the mobility and well, really the gauntlets to maybe get that going, because I think the other players running much more of that. But this is a hot zone that we're right now in. A lot of players here, a lot of damage to be done, a lot of kills to be had, but also a lot of death to be faced. JD Slayer trying to maybe weigh in on a bit of a rooftop battle with a Tempest, going to try and use their mobility a bit more to avoid the fight for now.
Yeah, for sure. And he's definitely going to try to peel out of this one. Dashman's going to come up off cooldown to help him out, but he's getting pushed hard. JD Sleek does get his tornado off, gets a little bit of space, but it looks like his death is still imminent. Dashes into a wall, and OSK Gaming, our very own caster, getting his first kill in the final game. I'm hoping to see an OSK pop-off. He has been very critical of competitive players in the past during some of these events, so this is your chance, ladies and gentlemen, to critique him back. He does start out with a nice kill, though, and player 2 also gets a kill onto the roaming gnome. So we're down to just 30. Angle is still on OSK as a fight approaches. Double stack with the runic fluency. He will have pyro on his class selection. The calming gauntlet not doing him too many favors, though. Trying to deal damage as he SPs backwards. Looks like he just wants out of this one completely, though, Mana Class.
Yeah, it does not really want to take that one right now, which is fine. You know, you're running a common pyro. You have that ice lance that you're going to do more damage with. So take the range. You know, make sure you're further away from your opponent. And I see the chat, guys. I see you're all about that entire Tempest gang right now. I love it. Tempest is a great class, but unfortunately, it really hasn't been that successful tonight. And a big part of that is because, yes, you take a lot of mobility. That's what your class does, right? Like, it gives you mobility, it gives you an opportunity to get away, and when you're in the air, you do more damage. But oftentimes, just having a mobility class, a mobility gauntlet, won't actually land you kills. You can more run away than run at people. And the problem with that right now, in the current way that Spellbreak is being played by most people, is that running away will never win you games. You see it here, Leaf Blader tries. It doesn't have the Tempest class, just as the conduit, but still, you can see how that air gauntlet doesn't really do that much in terms of damage. It's the lowest damage class in the entire game, and that really, really bars you if you don't have 2 sources of damage coming at you in terms of sorcery.
Yeah, and I am just loving the critique coming out of Leviathan. We asked you guys to roast OSK's gameplay, and I'll say this quote for quote: OSK with the weak flick on the ice shot can't seem to pressure the enemy enough as he runs away to lose some more. That is exactly what we want to see when these casters come out to start these scrim gameplays. Great quote from Leviathan there, as now we see Frith Knight backing up, does take a shadow step, but it does get blocked by the wall. And now he's going to have to use the Vanishing Mist to get a bit more separation. Does manage to get a potion off, so this is a crucial moment for him. Thirsty's doing him a lot of work when you're drinking a big pot like that, cutting it in half almost, as Mancy gets a kill onto Sharp Cheddar as well, and this fight continues to unfold. 24 people left in the circle, and Game 6 is thinning out very quick here, MOC.
Hey, looks at least Sharp Cheddar tried to fight a little bit earlier. That's it's a good start. You know, keep on going. OSK takes out another kill. We don't see it happen on stream, but a nice ice lance towards Mo Cable, maybe to the face, maybe to the back. We don't know. It could have been a surprise. Could have been a third party. We're going to give OSK the benefit of the doubt until we see them do some more fighting. Trago, though, not going to do much fighting right now. Just looking for maybe another fight to start. So we're going to go to the next player. Safe Boris coming out with the ice. Crashy is actually under a bit of pressure, looking for some loot, but it's Whispers ready with the ice lance. They're sniping for a target right now. Doesn't look like they found it just yet. Let's see the toxic cloud come out, and that means there's probably someone that's trying to run away, get into the direction, and it is indeed a 1v1 face-off. Who is that on the other side of this ice lance? It's ice lance versus ice lance, as we like to see, but it's a Tempest class, so it's not actually a Frostborn that's coming out here for Whispers. So, yeah, I mean, you have the Valkyrie, you have the Lances to actually do the damage with. Now you got to do the damage yourself, and just use the mobility to stay safe in this one. Wants to keep the distance, because the Ice Lance is their only main source of damage. It's really hard to do anything with that Wind Gauntlet, with that Tempest, especially if it's a common. So Whispers needs to keep that distance, needs to find the angle on their opponent, and with all those structures in the way, there's no way you're going to get a good sight line. So has to just find a different area to fight in, maybe pick up a different gauntlet for a period. I mean, there is a Pyro on the ground. You could just go with that for a little bit, but Whispers feeling confident in their skill right now on the Ice Lance. With that standoff, though, we're not going to stick with that. Of course, we're going to try and find some more actual action. And right now, there's something going on here. Another Ice Lance face-off. GG Zen TV actually gets picked off with that Ice Lance and now close up with the Tundra ability. It's going to be very tough for you to find the damage in that one. Getting a third party from the side, they're just getting shot from everywhere, and no invisibility going to save you there. Lanky Sea Moose gets an exile, is on full health, full armor, chasing down the next kill already.
Yeah, I think he just overcommitted right there. I mean, he ran in so deep with a Frostborn selection as his class. That is not the right decision, in my opinion. You are running into two Toxicologist players with a Stone offhand and Frostborn selected. That is not a great situation. You are not putting yourself in an advantageous spot. Now we see Frith Knight, though, running up on a player, trying to get a quick snipe to land, checking the corners to see if he's potting. Will take a bit of lightning damage off the far side. Now doesn't get a flying ice shot to land. Takes another shadow step. 6 seconds going to last. Doesn't get out of the way of the CC, and that is crucial as Frozen NNQ tags Frith Knight just barely with that lightning storm and gets the fireball to finish the kill. That's his first of the game, but Frozen NNQ is a deadly player. As you can see, he's getting pushed up by a Toxicologist. Going to get his armor kind of abused here as it gets broken, and now he's backing up farther into the storm. Watches the toxic spray come at him from the front side. Will try to get a potion off here. Going to take 5 seconds because he's not running that thirsty. Oh, he got it off just a half second before the toxic touched him. So the armor will still apply to his effective HP. Now getting over the side, misses the CC, but has so many spring step stacks due to conduit choice. Gets another fireball off, doesn't land it in time to stop the vanishing mists, but is still tracking his opponent. He's going to completely break away from this one, actually opting for the potion. As we see that there's 15 people left in game 6, Frozen NNQ is going to take a breath of fresh air and just wait for the fight to come to him.
I'm kind of waiting to go until we get into player 2's POV, because they've been popping in the kill feed. Let's see whether we'll actually get to them at some point. Frozen and NQ, though, still chasing down this kill. Both players sort of don't want to fight, but want to fight at the same time. I mean, you want to get some more kills, but you also don't want to die. 15 players left, the circle's getting smaller, and there was a third-party Ice Lance flying their way. Frozen really wants to try and fight some high ground right now, but can't really easily go through the open space. Does eventually manage to get on top of the tower here. Not sure if there's anyone on there. There is someone, and there is indeed someone on there. A nice combo. Straight away, the lightning strike into the toxic cloud. Beautiful. Frozen does get a bit of a heavy armor damage here, but will be fine for the time being. Plays very passively, though. Doesn't want to get anywhere near those fights, and they're soon going to be out of pots. So at some point, you cannot run away to heal anymore. You got to actually take the fight, Frozen.
Yeah, and he does not want to take that fight at all, though. He does actually get a lot of his potions off. Very nice work from him to get a nice clean reset. Maybe we bounce the angle of this camera, as it looks like Frozen will definitely not be trying to find this fight. And we're trying to find that angle from player 2, like you mentioned. He's having a great game 6, clutching up his performance. He's been sticking on Toxicologist for essentially the whole day here. Nice to see him kind of stick with one class and try to perfect his mastery of it, as other players seem to have been bouncing around a bit more. But look at Exile now, getting stuck against the wall, and that is going to be the end of the game. He knows that player 2 had his number. He got stuck on the side of the wall, an unfortunate bit of a texture bug, and at that point, the white flag goes up, and player 2 finishes the kill. He has 7 on his name right now, man of class. Player 2 is off to a really great run in game 6, trying to wrap up today's scrim with a banger.
But I mean, he has so many kills, and there's still so many players left. If he doesn't get 10, if he's in the final circle, that would be really surprising. Doesn't even have to win to get that done. So player 2 now trying to use their finishing step, gets another one here. That is 8, only 2 to go. Plenty of resources here to pick up. A nice, oh, that's a legendary shadow step. He is so stacked right now. Legendary gauntlets, legendary rune, got the runic fluency. There's no way he's ever going to run out of invisibility charges with his vanishing step and those runes. Great place for him to be in. Close range ice lance hits as well. Player 2, there's no way they're stoppable. The only thing that's maybe a bit jarring is that blue armor belt. But how are you ever going to get hit if they can never see you? I don't know, play safe. I don't think this is going to be a hard one to win for him.
I mean, look at, like you said, with the legendary Toxic Gauntlet and the cooldown on a Shadow Step with Runic Fluency triple stack, he is going in and out of invis, it seems like every 2 seconds. He still does take a lot of damage on that trade. It's a great point you bring up about him having the blue belt, but being hard to spot. Terasticon catches him sleeping, though, and puts player 2 into the abyss. P2 had 8 exiles on his name, but it's not going to do you any good against a huge shockwave from behind. Drasticon will take that up as his 3rd kill, and we'll see if he can capitalize and win the game with that momentum. That's unfortunate. I was looking forward to player 2's pop-off there. It's unfortunate it got cut short just a bit as Frozen NNQ gets a kill of his own, and we're down to just 7 people in Game 6 here, MOC. This one is burning quickly.
It really is, and such unfortunate for player 2 to go down there. He chose to go for the engage. He chose to go for the aggro positioning in order to try and finish off another kill. He was feeling the 10 bomb coming. He was just getting a bit too greedy and then got third partied. Frozen and NQ once again playing at range. Now they've got normal potions left. Now they kind of have to play it a bit safe. But unfortunately, if you play it safe and you have no potions, you've been doing this all game. You're also not getting a lot of stats going right now. No damage, barely any exiles. So Frozen just going to keep hiding, and that's where we're going to go to the next player because we want to see some action. Infinite accuracy. I mean, I don't know if that's actually a thing. I don't know if that's mathematically possible, but we'll believe you. See if you can get it off with the toxicologist and those ice lances. The frost offhand, able, if you get a good accuracy with that off, that would be amazing. Already gets a nice slap there of their opponent. Nice jump through the toxic cloud, and now still looking. I think they lost their opponent in the invisibility. That's probably also a toxicologist that just comes out with their invis. And now they're looking for it, but they're not able to find anybody right now. Accuracy, not accurate in their tracking of players apparently, but now there's like 3 or 4 players in this same area. 6 on the map. That means that everyone is sort of fighting here almost. Maybe 1 or 2 hiding, of which probably one of them is Frozen. I don't think he's part of this fight. He never is. And if that accuracy is going to try and hide a little bit, heal up, just don't take too much damage from the zone. The storm is jarring right now, getting to those last few ticks. Still going to take the armor pot, takes a little health damage for that, but had the big one going, so that's okay. Mancy now, part of that 3-fight, 2 went down. Frozen actually gets a kill in Gaming Canada YouTube. Nice third party probably. Drasticon dies to the zone. Whispers takes down Mancy. This final zone is crazy. It's just Whispers, and I think if the accuracy is still left, yes, it's 1v1. No more armor for Whispers. Play safe. Take it away.
This is a close 1v1. Infinite Accuracy is looking for his window to push in to take the game. He gets right on his hip. 1 more slap to do it. He goes for the Frostlands, though, and doesn't get the kill onto Whispers. A huge mistake from Infinite Accuracy, who had the game on the line. Oh, and Whispers had his chance as well. That would have bumped him down to almost nothing. Both of these players are trading with almost no armor, it seems like, as they're popping off ice lances at each other, different angles, changing high ground. You see the interaction of Toxicologist Tempest. It's hard to track sometimes as Infinite Accuracy looks to get up right in his face. Whispers does get a huge shot to go, and they are on just 1 shot each. 1 more flick will end the game, but who's going to find the window? Looks like Infinite may have actually gone to pot here. Very risky decision, as Whispers doesn't want to push too far. He doesn't want to roll the dice here. Infinite Accuracy, does take a huge snipe straight between the eyes. Whispers takes that Game 6. And that will send us home, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for your support. That is the final game of the broadcasted solo scrims unscored. Man of class, tell me how your first ever Element Spellbreak cast felt.
I enjoyed myself more than I ever thought I could on any broadcast ever. It was amazing to see. And we got a Tempest wins the end, guys. The Tempest gang, you can cheer in chat because we got him. That last player gets the Tempest win off. That's all we needed really from tonight. I think everyone got, maybe 6 different winners. Last one was a Whispers that won it for anyone who did. Hydra Chaos, you're asking it. So that definitely happened. And honestly, unfortunately, Infinite Accuracy cannot actually take down that last kill. Would have probably won the game with that. You said it yourself, that last little bit. And it's those close fights, those tiny mistakes, those tiny things, missing one ability. That's all that matters in Spellbreak. It's the tiny details. And I love this game so far. Loving casting it with you, Play Safe. And going to do more of this, 100%.
Yeah, well, it's an honor to be casting with you for sure. And just an update on scheduling. So this Saturday, there's actually going to be no event on the coming Saturday. We have a bit of a break week from competitive because the finals just wrapped up. But we will be back here next Monday for another broadcasted scrim. You and I, Man of Class, are teaming up once again. I want to say thank you again to our donators, Hingle McCringleberry, the Roaming Gnome as well. All of those donations, contributions, and subs go directly and 100% towards prize pools. All of that money is pooled up to redistribute into these competitive events. As you said, Man of Class, it's just more money for Kamsky to take home, it seems like. But nonetheless, it's fun to run these events, and it's even more fun to do it with you guys at home. So thanks for your support. Thank you for coming out, Man of Class. You did a fantastic job. I know everybody in the community agrees, and we're going to send off the raid. We will see you guys next week. Have a great weekend. Again, any Canadians in chat, any fellow Canadians, happy Thanksgiving, and I hope you guys all have a great weekend. Thank you.
Cool. Bye to the Europeans as well. You know, we're also here. Don't be silent in chat. We got this.
See you guys.